Most people use cement to build things and detergent to clean them, so why would anyone ever mix the two together? At first, it sounds like one of those ideas that should never work. But sometimes the most surprising projects begin with materials that seem completely unrelated. Today, I'm going to test an unusual idea that I bet most people have never tried before. If this experiment works, we may end up with a building material that is lighter, easier to work with, and very different from ordinary concrete. Let's find out what happens. The first ingredient is 150 milliliters of dishwashing detergent. But before using it, I need a way to create as much foam as possible. For that, I'm modifying a mixing attachment. I take a piece of sponge and cut it to fit around the mixing paddle. Then I secure it tightly using 3 nylon zip ties. The sponge has an important job. Instead of simply stirring liquid, it helps trap air and continuously pull new air into the mixture while spinning. Now I install the modified mixer into my cordless drill. The setup is ready. Next, I pour a small amount of clean water into a bucket. Then I add the entire 150 milliliters of dishwashing detergent. At this point, it still looks completely ordinary. But watch what happens when the drill starts spinning. The sponge begins whipping air into the liquid. Tiny bubbles appear, then thousands more. Within seconds, the liquid starts expanding upward. The foam rises higher and higher until most of the bucket is filled with a thick layer of stable foam. In a second bucket, I pour in 5 liters of clean water. Next comes 50 milliliters of plasticizing additive. This is a very important ingredient. A plasticizer helps cement mixtures flow more smoothly without requiring excessive water. That means the final material can remain workable while still maintaining good strength. I mix the liquid for a moment until everything is evenly distributed. Now it's time for the cement. I slowly pour 7 kilograms of cement into the bucket. As the powder enters the water, the mixture immediately begins thickening. Gray swirls form around the mixer. The liquid becomes heavier and denser with every pass of the drill. To keep the proportions consistent, I use a ruler to check the level inside the bucket. This paint bucket is 30 centimeters tall. My target is roughly 2/3 of the total height. That tells me the ratio is where I want it. I slowly transfer the foam into the cement mixture. Almost immediately, something begins to change. The heavy mixture starts looking lighter. The texture becomes softer. The mixer encounters less resistance. The entire batch appears to increase slightly in volume. Now let's continue. The next ingredient is fiberglass. I add 35 grams of chopped fiberglass into the mixture. Although the amount seems small, its role is important. These tiny fibers act like reinforcement spread throughout the material. They help reduce cracking and improve structural integrity. After that, I add 1 kilogram of plaster. This ingredient changes the consistency almost immediately. The mixture becomes creamier and more cohesive. Plaster also helps the material set more quickly. Now it's time to prepare the molds. Before pouring anything, I coat the inside surfaces using used motor oil. I brush it into every corner and along every wall of the mold. This step is simple but very important. Without a release layer, concrete often sticks to the mold. With oil applied evenly, The finished blocks separate much more easily and leave a cleaner surface. Used oil has many practical applications in workshop projects. I'm curious, what do you normally use it for? Now let's begin filling the molds. I slowly pour the mixture into the first mold, then the second, and finally the third. The molds are placed in a dry, well-ventilated area. No direct rain, no harsh sunlight. Now we wait 36 hours. After the curing period is complete, it's finally time to see the results. This is where I'd like to ask you something. Before seeing the final result, what do you think happens when detergent foam is mixed into cement? Does it weaken the material? Does it make it lighter? Or do you think it won't make any difference at all? Let me know in the comments and tell me where you're watching from. I always enjoy learning new building and repair techniques from people around the world. To make removal easier, I pour hot water around the outside of the plastic molds. The heat causes the plastic to expand slightly. That reduces friction and helps release the block. After a few moments, I carefully lift the mold away. The result looks surprisingly clean. The edges are sharp, the surface is smooth, and the block separates without sticking. That's one of the advantages of taking the time to apply the oil earlier. But appearance is only part of the story. Now, let's see how different this block really is. I place a traditional fired clay brick on the scale. The weight is nearly 1.5 kilograms. Next, I weigh the block from today's experiment. The scale doesn't even reach 1 kilogram. That's a significant difference. The material is noticeably lighter in my hands. But here's the test I've been waiting for. I fill a container with water. First, I place the traditional brick into the container. Just as expected, it sinks directly to the bottom. The block sits lightly on top of the water. It's an unexpected sight for something made primarily from cement. There's one final test I want to try. I take a handsaw and begin cutting through the block. The saw moves through surprisingly easily. The material can be shaped, trimmed, and modified with much less effort than conventional concrete. That opens up interesting possibilities for decorative projects, lightweight construction, and custom shapes. What began as ordinary detergent and cement has turned into something completely different. This experiment reminds us that useful ideas often come from looking at familiar materials in unfamiliar ways. Sometimes the biggest transformation starts with the simplest ingredients. If you enjoyed this project, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.